Hi, hello guys. Welcome again to another segment. We're at episode 11. This is Real Talk Houston, and I am Carlotta B. I want to welcome everyone that's joining us this evening to explore this very sensitive matter regarding a teacher who's been accused of physical abuse. First and foremost, our priority is ensuring the well-being of the child. We aim to raise awareness, educate, and provide resources for the parents, teachers, as well as the students, of course. Today, initially, the mom was supposed to be present with us today of the fifth grader. She had to rescind at the last minute due to legal issues, but she does wish us well on this show, and she would like to speak to us after the official press conference. We also have Rob Slater. He's from the Culture Commission, and we have Kim Lanier, who's a community advocate. And via audio, we also have Cyfair ISD representatives who have asked to remain anonymous. Today, we're going to hear from all three perspectives as we dive into this unfortunate incident. So welcome, you guys. Thank you so much for joining today, Rob and Kim.
Thank you.
I want to let everyone know that today's show is sponsored by Brownstone Innovations Electrical. They're servicing Texas and Louisiana. And their motto is forget the rest and call the best for commercial and residential electrical and contracting services. And they can be reached at 337-263-3320. Again, that number is 337-263-3320. Brownstone Innovations and Electrical. So today, guys, in consideration of structure and time, first, I'll ask a couple of open forum general questions, and then I'll allow the educators to speak respectively, after which we'll also hear from Kim and Rob and get their comments and remarks from a community advocate perspective, because we want to peel away the layers and look at this entire incident and see what is going on and how can this be prevented in the future. So the first thing I want to ask is, and this is, you guys can answer, or we can have the educators chime in and answer, how important is it, first of all, to have open lines of communications between the parents and the teachers regarding the children, what's happening at school regarding their activities, and any updates that need to be given to the parents?
Well, from an advocate's point, I feel it needs to be addressed because when my children, I raised 5 children.
Okay.
As a single parent. So for me, there's no excuse for, as a parent, to not participate in my child's education. And that means knowing if he had behavior issues or if he had a bad day. You know, I rely on that educator because truthfully, your children tend to be with the educator more than they are with us at home, right? So they will see things that we may miss. So that open line of communication is really important because at the end of the day, it affects the community at large, the type of children that we're turning out as adults.
Oh, yes, I agree.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I think we need to go to the core of the issue of what's trending. First and foremost, the teachers are the front line at our schools. They're understaffed, they're underpaid, and these days they're underappreciated. So from a school district and a governmental level, we need to look at extra resources and tools to support the teachers in that communication and get that buy-in, because the children's well-being and their security is not just them being physically safe, but mentally, educationally, and just everyone needs to be safe during the educational process.
Right.
Absolutely.
Cyfair ISD, do you guys want to chime in about the open lines of communication between parents and teachers, and how has that been working out thus far?
Yes, I like to agree with both of the wonderful people that have joined the panel along with you. We are actually, in the classrooms, we're on the front lines. We have so many forms of communication that we do reach out to the parents. And for the most part, parents, those who answer the phones, are receptive for the most part. Coming from the administration side, there is really a breakdown in communication in reference to the staff and administration. How many calls for help have we made within our teams, bringing it to the administration by grade levels, coming together collectively, and nothing is being done. Nobody is listening to us. We have been physically attacked, threatened. Students come in and they have illegal substances, and all they get is, the number three, the 3 days in, sack in their back in class. And again, we constantly ask for help, we ask for support, and nobody's hearing us. From instances of, threats online, of shootings with, the same school, of threats, things of, illicit activities happening on the buses. To just the other week, I was told that another teacher was assaulted by another student and nothing was done. Nobody is listening. Even to the point of during Thanksgiving, another teacher tried to commit suicide because she was getting no support from the administration.
Wow.
Something has to be done. And yet instead, we still have to put on a mask and continue to educate. Not just the academic part, but like each one of you individuals have just said, the total child, the psychological, the emotional, everything. Nobody is listening and nobody is helping. Help us, please.
Wow, that's really sad to hear. Are you guys escalating this up to the upper levels in the school district, or are you guys just talking about it amongst yourselves and maybe to whoever is, the reigning entity at a particular school, or are you guys running that up the flagpole within the school district itself? How far have you guys went on this to be heard?
Yes, well, we have exhausted pretty much every avenue that you just mentioned. We have people that have actually gone to the Capitol and rallied. We have people going to the board meetings. We have people sitting in on union meetings and getting help and representation through that way. We have counselors outside of the district reaching out to teachers who have reached out to them, and it is just a vicious cycle that. And again, nothing is being done. Everything is being swept under the rug. Everything is being disregarded as if, the teacher's complaining. And then, of course, we have, the threat of the contract, securing the contract at the end of the year.
Oh.
Mind you, they can fire you or say that your position is not available. All that is being hung over our head with constant evaluations. Let's not hear that this particular teacher is doing anything to help other teachers. That teacher is immediately targeted, multiple walkthroughs for no reason, outside of the normal 2 to 3 evaluations throughout the year. You're talking 5 or 6 a week by multiple people. The hit squad comes in, 4 or 5 people coming in, taking pictures, doing this, doing that, people getting on medication. It is sad. And yet we still show up because why? We love the children. We love those parents who do help us. And
It's help us.
Wow. What do you guys have to say about that? Is there what kind of change can we initiate? And this is just one school district. And I know this is probably, of course, not the only school district, but we know that this particular district is crying out for help. And I think as a result, a lot of unfortunate things are happening. So from a political perspective or an advocate perspective for the children and the teachers, what can be done? Where can we start? How can we make a change?
I think first and foremost, we need to call it what it is. This is a state of an emergency in our education system.
Yeah.
And just like a state of emergency, that's where you call all resources from a federal to a state and a local level, but most importantly from a community advocate level. And I want to say one thing. With retrospect to the incident of what we're talking about with the teacher and the young man, they're separate issues. The action that he took is totally unacceptable.
Yes.
At the end of the day, on the video, that is not okay. It's not appropriate. the sensitive side is that what I believe, in my opinion, is that when you have teachers that's undergoing a frustration and that's in this environment where they're not supported, sometimes subconsciously you're taking it out. I see a teacher lashing out, and unfortunately it was at the cost of that child, but it's something there that was a breakdown that the administration should have been involved in to where they're not supported. This is a state of emergency at the administrative level where teachers are subject to pawns. You're just a number. You're just trying to secure a contract. And the students, they don't give a damn about the students as well. This is a state of emergency. And we at the Culture Commission is going to do everything possible with Cyfair, and we're going to call them to the table, and we need to get the teachers involved to be able to speak freely without retribution. And I think that's the first step of what we could do at a community level, in my opinion.
Kim?
Also, from a parent and a community advocate, being in the community, here's what I see. After the lights, camera, and action goes away, it gets this situation gets its 15 minutes of fame, then we haven't adequately provided the parent what they need to deal with maybe a child who could be a handful, at home. Parents get exhausted. Being a single mother of 5, because their dad wasn't, not by choice, but he wasn't around, I know what it's like to have to undergird my children with mentorship. But everybody don't know where to find mentorship, right?
Right.
So we have to, as a community, make sure that in the midst of all of this drama surrounding the incident, and I'm not discounting what happened to the young man. That's not acceptable behavior. However, once the lights go off and the cameras go away and it's not a hot topic, what have we provided to the parent to make sure that the child is getting adequate attention, be a good therapist, or because if this is the allegations are true, then he's been bullied, so we have to make sure mentally he's sound to deal with what's happened. If they may be any behavior issues, those things could get addressed as well. If the parent needs a break, maybe there's some organizations that provides a day break for parents,
Okay.
So we have to surround this, because if this happened today, imagine the next time or the next situation. Unfortunately, he looks like me, so the next time he's in that situation and he's an adult and he's dealing with law enforcement. Right?
Yeah.
The next time we'll be saying, I don't want to hear the headlines of what should have happened when he was a child.
Right.
And if I may, real quick, and maybe to Ms. Kim, to me, it goes back to the administration. Like the educator had said, when a discipline action happened, okay, it's 3 days of in-school suspension or it's a tap on the back. Sometimes the details and leading up, that information doesn't get to the parent. So it's easy sometimes for the parent to kind of, not saying disregard or to take it at face value. Really, there's some undercurrent psychological, there's some other things that need to be there. So to me, it goes back to the administration to increase resources in the mental health space and the behavioral space to really assess these actions and behaviors, to give the proper information to the parent. And as Ms. Kim stated, then maybe connect those with some resources outside of the school district, since every damn thing is about $1, what we can't afford. There's organizations and that will support to get these things corrected. And we need to bring it all together.
I agree. And further to you guys' point, how do we tighten the reins on what the students can't do? And because the teachers are feeling powerless, right? So the logic behind, so they're feeling like, and the kids know this, so they do whatever they want. That's why they threaten and hit, punch, curse at the teachers, because they know there's no real repercussions. So how do we give the what are the teachers supposed to do? They're powerless. They're powerless. They're a sitting duck to be mistreated and disrespected at any given moment, and they can't do anything. So back to administration, right? The teachers don't feel safe at all.
Elections matter.
Yes.
Your school board is over the administration.
Yes.
And we are not showing up at the polls. Elections matter, not just congressionally, right? The big elections that we all pay attention to.
Yeah.
Judges, school boards, right?
Let's say it one more time. Let me lean in with you. Come on, let's say it again.
Elections
matters.
Vote.
Yeah, make your voice heard.
If the teachers need support, make sure they get with their unions and stomp for the candidate they believe in.
Yeah.
Elections matter. If you're burnt out, then it shouldn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican. If they're not doing the job, vote for the best person to do the job. Elections matter. And your teacher's administration really starts with who sits in the governor's seat. Elections matter.
And before you toss it to the educator, let's be progressive, Carlotta. Let's have a crazy idea. If the metric system is just on the testing basis, which we all could probably say it's a little bit too much onus is on the testing and everything else is kind of left behind, let's include a metric where there's a town hall weekly with the educators and the parents, because parents are not responding to the educators. They're not tapping in. So let's make that a part of your child's grade, your support, because home and community support should be a part of your educational development.
So they should be graded per se
You
as
should be
well for
graded,
showing
right?
up for your child.
For showing up. So if your kid wants to make that grade point average, your participation in their education should be a part of that metric as well.
That I 100% agree on.
Absolutely.
Now, is that something that can be implemented at the school level, at the ISD level, or is that something that needs to be rolled up to pushed up the flag and
both.
approved to happen?
It takes bravery. It could be both. It could start at the school level, then we get up to the state level.
Okay.
But it takes, as Ms. Kim said, the proper superintendent, the proper principal, and we need to hold them accountable for being innovative and not ripping, covering everything up with a Band-Aid, and then we're pointing fingers, and now we have, Lord forbid, a mass shooting. We have teachers quitting, and we have a teacher that's willing to commit suicide because mentally they're passionate about helping a child, but they're not provided the tools and resources, so they feel like a failure, and their life purpose is not. That is a state of emergency.
Yes, it is.
That's crazy.
Yes,
That's
it is. Cyfair ISD on the call. Do you guys feel like when you reach out to the parents, you're getting the support that you need? Do they reciprocate you guys' calls for help when you're calling them in a dire situation about their children?
No, ma'am. I would say no, absolutely not. That's if they even answer the phone. Most of our frequent flyers, the parents have already blocked our numbers. Even if we call from the classroom, they block anything. All the emails that we may send, if we can't reach them one way, then they block that. Those come back undeliverable. And so here we're left with dealing with, I feel we feel helpless. Now there are those, a small percentage of those parents, from our experiences, that as soon as we call, they answer. They're very supportive, and God bless those parents. God bless all the parents, because the ones that are still struggling, those are the ones that need the most prayer. Because as both of you, all three of you wonderful people have said previously, we're shaping elections matter, and how the mental health and what do we do? Like I said, we rally, we go there, we go here. But again, even myself tonight with you fine people, I'm still in terror of, will they find out, or will they know it's me? They're gonna fire me, and it's sad. It's sad because there are those people who do agree with this. There are those select few who are a part of administration, but again, that do agree with this. But to me, they're useless because they're not willing. They're willing to step up, to keep that Band-Aid, to keep their job, to secure the contract.
So people want to do something about it. They're aware that something needs to be done, but majority, they're just afraid to step up for fear of losing their job. So therefore, everything just gets swept under the rug, and you guys just keep trying to come to work every day with a straight face.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
And just to make one last statement, just kind of circling back again, all three of you have touched on this, and I want to circle back. I wanted to let the mom of the student know that, you know, all of us are not like that one particular one. You know, as a mother and as a mother of a boy specifically,
mhm.
you know, I would not know how you know I would react, and I'm just happy that you know good people like all of y'all and all the people you know who have listened to her story, you know, really making it you know aware of this. And by all means, you know, you don't come to school to put your hands on a child. We come to hold, love them, support them, and nurture them. So on behalf of the district, I don't, you know, from I've seen whatever, but if it's true, then let's throw the book at them. But you know,
Yeah.
let's also address the other things as well. So thank you all for letting me speak and calling anonymously, and I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Okay, my last question for you is, and I don't know how much you want to elaborate on this, but from your insight, can you give us any input at all from what you know about what happened with that incident?
What I do know, and thank you for asking, what I do know is that this one particular child was, you know, he's from what I've been told, he's very, you know, verbally abusive to the teachers. It has been that way the whole time he's been at that particular school, threatening, you know, to, you know, just do, just, I don't want to get into too specifics, but I do want to say, um, you know, having seen teachers deal with, you know, students like him, it does bring you to that breaking point, but that's where the adult and the professional and the ethics piece comes in, the component. And I do believe, I mean, how many times have all of us been to that point? But that's when you have to pray, put your hands behind your back, and walk away.
Yeah, I guess it's easier to do for some of us than others. Yeah, it's tough when you get to that breaking point, and I know it's a hard situation to be in. This gentleman was a permanent teacher or a substitute teacher.
He was a substitute teacher, but he was a dedicated sub, meaning he was assigned to that particular school because he had never, you know, everyone preferred him. He was really great with all the kids
Mm,
for years, and so, but again, you know, we've all been unfortunately to that point, but that's where you have to pull in your professionalism and you
yeah.
have to you know, and unfortunately, the kids will bring you to that point. There's no excuse for that because I would be livid if that was my son. I don't even know what I would be doing right now. You know what I mean? But
Right.
professionally, you know, he lost it if it's true. And I just pray the best outcome for him, whatever the legal way is. And again, you know my heart goes out to the family of the student because no matter what,
Right.
that child has already been through enough, and there's
Right.
no excuse for that. No mistreatment of teachers. No nothing will ever excuse that. So you know,
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, if you could talk to the person that or the people that have the ability to change what is happening in the ISD, Cyfair ISD, or any ISD that's listening right now, what would you say to them and what would you want them to do to make a safer environment for the teachers and the students?
yes, ma'am. I would just have every person that's listening just remember the time to where you were in school, or you may have had a loved one in school, and you know, there may have been an incident, and just put your, you know, try to pull on those heartstrings and remember how vulnerable and how helpless you were. And also, I want you to remember those champions of teachers and administrators. That even there are some good ones out there that supported you and listened to you. Keep that in mind. But I also want you to also know that teachers, teaching is not a profession that we choose. It's a profession that chooses us.
Right.
And
Right.
we are there every single day. for your kids. Your kids are our kids.
Right.
And there's nothing that we wouldn't do for them. So just listen to us and believe us and help us.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, that pulls at my heartstrings too, and I feel like it seemed like this is getting worse with each year or with each generation. Because when we were in school, I don't recall having any of these issues.
It's
You guys, it's progressively getting worse.
It's
right?
different. When I was a young kid, we had corporal punishment. I don't remember. I went to MacArthur or something, and I would get in trouble, and they used to tap me with a ruler or whatever.
Right.
Those days are not gone. You can't even yell at a kid, or CPS will be in your life.
Exactly.
So but I do want to say this, and I want to say this with the utmost respect, because thank you for having this show, and thank the educator for being on. And I think that because there's so many mixed emotions, there shouldn't be a side, but I do want to reiterate that these kind of are separate issues. To the educator that is on the video that has been recorded of pushing or touching this kid, as a man, we have to do better. We young men look up to us no matter what the breakdown is. We have to be prepared to be a leader and to show them how to handle conflict resolutions, even when we push them. My ex-wife or my girlfriend, they irritate the hell out of me. I can't put my hands on them. So there is the fine line. But I want to separate that particular issue from what this current the educator is talking about. And kudos and bravery to that educator for standing up, because there are separate issues. This educator is talking about a systemic breakdown. To the young man that crossed that line, because I just want to call a spade a spade. It's on video. It happened. That is not acceptable, right? But that is separate from what we're talking about. And it all leads, however, to the administration, because we don't want any more teachers to cross that line for whatever reason.
Right.
So we have to come to the aid right now and address these issues. I know that Dr. Kenneth Matthews and some other community activists has bringing a rally cry and bringing this push. And I can assure from the Culture Commission standpoint, from this, we're dealing with the other educators, we're going to be at Cyfair. We're pulling up at the educators, to the superintendent. We're going to be recorded, and we are going to commit ourselves to get some type of resolve and resolutions, because when someone is crying out, someone needs to listen. So we have to do more, and this is not going to be swept under the rug.
Well, I just want to say, from a community advocate perspective, again, where you lose me is when the lights and cameras go off, the parent still doesn't have resources to help her, because there's several stories to this one coin, right?
Right.
And so I want to address what maybe what she may be dealing with at home, to make sure the child has a safe place to express his anger, or to express himself in a way that he can get tools for any alleged behavior challenges or issues he may have, because that's what breaks my heart, because I get to see the byproduct of these conversations not being had, not being effective, or once the spotlight is off, going away.
Right.
And the cycle begins again.
Right.
Maybe not 5th grade, but maybe 10th grade. Maybe not 10th grade, but maybe it stops them from getting into college, or it shows up at a job
later.
You know what I mean? So
the anger.
When do we have this full roundtable discussion surrounding everything that took place, even leading up to this incident? And it's not just administration, it's community, it's parenting, it's all of it. All of it needs to be addressed, so that we can keep addressing it wherever it arises, and keep the conversations healthy, and make sure that those resources that are in place are known. Because if they're in place and we don't know about it, we can't utilize it.
Is it fair to say also, though, that it's reciprocated back to the educators as well? could we have the parents give the teachers a report card? If my child was having a rough day or angry or something was happening, could we let the teachers know proactively to be mindful and know what they're dealing with? I think that the teachers could be more prepared in coming to those situations. So the parents definitely need the tools and the resources. But as Ms. Kim said, bringing everyone to the table, we need to change the system. Like she said, when the cameras and the actions are gone, what policies are being changed, and that's what we need to hold everyone accountable to. We need to bring everybody to the table.
That goes back to the open line of communications and everybody talking, and not the parent saying, oh, my child's at school now, let them deal with it, or the teacher saying, oh, whatever happens at home, that happens, just don't bring that to school. It's back to it takes a village. It's the community at large, and that includes everyone has to participate: the parents, the students, the administration, the teachers. It's a group effort. It doesn't just fall on one person.
Right.
It doesn't fall on one person. So, and I totally and wholeheartedly agree with you. We can't just talk about it and then we all go home and
disappear.
And that's it. It's done. We had the show, we talked about it. Okay, I did my part. It's like what, talking with, without walking is nothing, right? So we have to take action and do something.
We used to have auditorium when I was in school. It was a way to highlight resources. You had the business owners that came to talk, all of these career days. And I found out that when you're a ministry or a 501c3, you can use the schools, right? So why don't we have after school auditoriums and the resources in the community come and say, hey, if you run out of milk, Lifeway is an organization that give you milk to bridge you in the gap for your baby formula. No questions asked. But they're not known about, right? There are resources right there that we're surrounded by that we don't know about. There are organizations that may be grassroots. And until we have these discussions and utilize these buildings that we can utilize right here in the community, we can have town halls, we can have resource fairs right there at the schools. Because oftentimes there are issues that actually boil over at school that didn't start at school.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And we used to could go to schools and churches for these resources, but now there's a disconnect now.
Right. That reminds me of the small town halls. Everybody, they all come together. They, I have this business, you come to my business. I have this business, you come to my business. Resources, as you said. Everyone's working together for the greater good.
Right.
And even though we're in Houston, Texas, I think the districts need to start utilizing those town halls, or most schools don't even have PTA meetings anymore.
Right.
So that used to be a place for everyone to gather and commune and talk, and socialize about the issues. But I don't even think that some schools don't even have PTA anymore.
Right.
So, but if that's something we can advocate, the town halls, I think that would be great. I think that would be great. Cyfair ISD representative, how do you feel about the possibility of implementing something like that? Do you think it would be useful, and maybe it would bring the parents and the teachers and the students together so that everyone is aligned and on the same page and learning about the different resources that are available to everyone?
Absolutely, yes, ma'am. I absolutely, I was over here, I was crying and very emotional about everything that's been going on, and that is such a wonderful idea. I would be even willing to help spearhead with y'all's guidance to even helping to start that at even my school and helping to spread that throughout all of Cyfair ISD. I strongly believe, and as all of you as well believe, I can tell by not when I bring a problem, we also like to bring a solution. And so I think by providing those resources, shucks, I was sitting here listening to Ms. Lynn. I'm like, dang, I wish I knew about those for myself, when I needed those and whatnot. So I think that would be just wonderful. And I also want to continue to work with, all three of you all, and maybe also provide, some get together with some food banks and get some of these fresh fruits and vegetables distributed out to these schools. And again, you know, the town hall after school, I am willing, and I have many teachers are willing to do the work, but we need help, and I'm willing
Yeah.
to stand up, and I know that I can bring more with me. So thank you all for that, and
All
I'm
right.
just thank you.
Well, let's do it. We're going to get the fire started. We're not just going to talk about it. We're going to be about it. And I'm going to help too. I'm offering my help as well. So, whatever you guys need, we're going to try to, you guys said you're pulling up. If I'm in town, I might pull up too, just to see where I can get in, where I fit in and help out as well, because, you know, I
Well, I'll
One,
be the one in the bushes with the sunglasses on. I'll pull up too. Thank you. God bless.
okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining. I really, really appreciate it. And we're going to do what we can to be a part of the change. We're going to try to initiate change.
Absolutely.
You guys have any final words?
Just to the representative, stay steadfast. We depend on you, parents, the children, the kids. You are the front line. You are valuable. You are honored. And we pray for your protection
Yes.
and just your perseverance through this. And we are committed from the Culture Commission that you have been heard. We receive you, and we are going to drive it home and not give up. We are coming, and we're gonna change something. We're going to fight for it. We got you. We hear you.
yes.
I just want to say thank you guys so
Oh,
much.
thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Hang in there. We're going to come to the rescue.
Thank y'all so much, and whatever y'all need, I'm here for y'all, and I'm gonna continue to persevere and receive all the blessings, and just keep showing up and doing what we do best, which is protecting, nurturing, and teaching
Oh.
all children. Thank y'all so
Yes.
much.
Yes,
you.
yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time and for coming out to talk to us. We really appreciate you. And thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kim, for showing up as well.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for watching, Boss Fam. This is another segment that's coming to an end. If anyone want to volunteer and help us out with this venture in making our schools a safer place for our parents, teachers, and the students, please reach out. You can send me a message on my Instagram. You can DM me, let me know, and I'll be happy to provide information of how you can assist in this venture as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good night.